Hello, welcome back to Tony Doc Station, and in this episode I'm doing back scenes. So, as I spoke about in my last video, part of the issue I've got with my back scenes is the angle of the roof. So what I've got is one of these devices which allows you to get the angle of the roof. And it's very simple. Just get your spirit level or something. I've used the spirit level just so I can make sure it is completely level, so that when I do the angle, because most of this is straight. So although the bubble here is slightly off, what I do is just adjust it so the bubble is dead centre. I hope you can see this. I then put the device in to get the correct angle for that, and then lock that off with the nut there, and then I know now that that is the angle of the roof. So then what I do, I'll just move the camera, is take the board I'm using for my back scene and use this to make sure I get the correct cut of the angle here. As you can see, prior to me taking the layup, I did put some back scenes up and got the angle completely wrong. So I now know that that is the correct angle of the roof. Excuse me. So it means that I can then push this right up to there if I need to. So the actual part of the board where it's going to be going, where the angle will be that side there, because this side here is pretty much going to have enough clearance to be dead straight. So this angle here is where it's going to be pushed a bit further over. Sorry, that corner there is where the angle will be pushed a bit further over. So I'm going to cut this side here because it's already got the angle cut on it, and then obviously I'll flip the board over and then that will be over that side there. So I'll cut this bit off and then we'll see how it fits. Okay, so that's that bit cut. And always make sure you unplug your tools once you finish with them so you don't accidentally set them off and create a problem. So, what I'm going to do now is offer this up and see how the angle matches. So, we bring this in here. You have to bear with me. And this is the joy of making this very strong, is that I can just sit on this. Okay, right. And almost, in fact that is pretty damn perfect on the angle. I don't know if you can actually see that, but that is pretty good. Now I don't need it to go that far, but I know now that if needs be, that angle can go right up there and push that over. Okay, so I've had a good read through the instructions and I've sort of lined these out to see what they look like. Now, this set is designed to be so that this is the left-hand side and that this paper roll here joins onto the end there. The actual image stitch is there. However, obviously I want the water to be this side, because the water is not this side. So I've got two choices. I can either find a different backscene, or I can, well, three choices. Find a different backscene, move the water over there, or try and stitch these together. Now, find a different backscene is definitely an option. Move that over there is definitely not an option. And stitch these together is an option. So now, do I, excuse the mopeds in the background, bank holidays, do I stitch these together, or do I find a different backscene? Now, find a different backscene, it may be possible, but likely I might find one with a good measure of water that's going to sit in that place there. I would use the measuring tape, but that's sort of holding it together there, and I'll sort of show you in a minute. The stitch, obviously you can't see it that well because there is this sort of white edge which needs to be trimmed off, but you can see the image there. I mean, the cloud is an issue, but it's not a major problem. It will stitch, I think, for me. I can put some sort of object there to sort of hide that stitch a bit better as well. It's definitely an option, because then that will roll that way, and obviously I'm going to lose a portion of this, which will sort of cut off around there. If you think that's the edge of the water line there, which is there, I only need sort of another foot. It's only going to take me to here, so I will lose a bit at the end, which is, it's a shame. It's quite a nice industrial area, and you see all this sort of bits and bobs, but definitely really like this refinery. It's definitely what my dock scene is all about. And the power station and stuff like that. So I'm going to have a little play around with this, but all in all, I think it's going to be difficult to find another backscene with a piece of water like this. I'm going to try and stitch this together, and if it doesn't work, you know, I think it was 15 quid, which is a waste, but you know, I can always get another one. But I'm going to have a go with this. Excuse the fan in the background, it's pretty warm up here today, so hopefully you can hear me over the top of it. So I've marked out pretty much the measured gap between there and there. And as you can see, that's one little line there, there's another line there, and it's almost just a perfect fit. I think it's just, it's meant to be, so I'm going to make this work. So I've lined off up there, and as you can see, I've rolled it out all the way to the end, and there's very little waste. There's pretty much the angle there, which I'll be losing. So I'll be losing a bit of sky, and then that sort of pushes right over into the background, just pretty much, I don't know if you can see the sort of line down there, pushes it right over, which means I can then bring the end gauge one in there and put something in the background and really hides the cut there. And it makes the most of this back seam, which is the one that I really like, really want. So I'm going to make this work, and this stitch here will have to, well, it will have to do. There's some things you just have to compromise on, and that is one of the things I'm going to be compromising on. So what I'm reading the instructions is this sort of white edge here needs to go, and the one at the top there will probably need to go. The bottom one I'm going to keep, because it's going to be hidden anyway, and it will also help me to sort of line this up rather than having to cut that off. It will help me line it up to the bottom. So I'm going to trim this here. I've got a steel rule, a sharp craft knife, and I've also got a very sharp pair of tailor's scissors, just to make any fine trimming that may need to be done. So we're going to trim this off here, and then we're going to look at laying this down that way. Now I'm going to be experimenting with a product here called View Glue from Deluxe Materials. Now I know this is the premium range, it just happened to be what I had. I didn't particularly choose it because it was a premium range. The results and feedbacks that I've seen from the premium range, i.e. just the adhesive sticking down to this on its own, is not that great. So I'm going to be trying this Backscenes glue. I don't know how good it is. I'm not being sponsored by them in any way, but it's going to be something I'm going to give a go. So it says it should be wrinkle free, and the instructions do say that you can sort of stick the back of that, you don't have to peel it off. So we're going to give this a go. We're going to trim this off, make sure it's dead fine, line it up with this line here, and what I've done is I've used a set square there to make sure that that is a dead straight line coming down, so when I line it up I know that that is going to be a dead straight line, which then means that I should be able to run this dead smooth along the back, or run along the bottom there, help keep it all square and in line. Obviously it isn't now, I've just rolled it out. So let's have a go with that. So just before I went ahead, I've just read through all the instructions again, and I'm glad I did, because on the View Glue product it says to brush sufficient adhesive over the entire paper, position the paper carefully and smooth out air bubbles with a small roller or tube. And then the actual instructions that come with the product say it is important to apply the glue to the backboard and not the back seam, and allow a few moments for moisture to take in. So the actual product instructions are saying to glue the board, and the actual glue instructions are saying to glue the paper. Now this does say to glue the whole thing as one and then put it on, but that's obviously not going to happen. So I'm going to glue one bit. I've got it all lined and pegged so I know it's dead straight. I'm going to glue this bit here. I'm going to glue straight to the board itself and let the paper stick to that, and then I'm going to sort of glue the rest of it as we go along. I think that's going to be the way to go about it. What I'm also going to do is, this is a very smooth surface, which is probably what you want, but I'm going to sand it up a bit just to give it a bit of grip as well. Okay, so I've done the first bit. I'm not 100% convinced yet, so I'm going to give it a go, do the whole thing. It is sticky, and I don't know if I'm just being impatient with the drying time, but it's not holding as much as I thought it would do. If worse comes to worse, I've got a big old can of instant contact adhesive, which I'll give a go afterwards. Hopefully, if the glue doesn't hold, then we'll take the scene up and we'll give it a spray of that. But so I'm going to do the rest of this with the View Glue, give it a chance and see if it works, and let it dry for a longer period of time, and go from there. Okay, so done that bit, and the glue was better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if you saw from the actual time lapse just there that I wasn't having to hold it. The glue was getting a good grip after just a little while, and holding it, it wasn't rolling all the way back. So I'm hoping that that means that it will stay, so it will dry and get a good grip. It's gone on very well so far, I think. It's nice and straight and level. It's got a good grip, no major bubble. Well, not that I can see any bubbles. You can see the edge of the board there, where that will get trimmed. Overall, quite happy so far. We've got to let this dry and see how well it actually takes. But so far, if this does get a good hold, stays gripped, not bad, I think. The other thing I was saying as well, not saying, but I was forgot to mention, is that this glue specifically says that it's for hardwood paint surfaces and plasterboard. And as you can see, I'm using hardwood. I think it's 4mm thick hardwood. I forget to mention that, 4mm thick hardwood. It's got quite a smooth surface. So you'll see that I didn't sand the rest of it, because I thought that might be why this hasn't got a grip. It seems to have taken now. I've done the rest without, because I thought If it doesn't stick, it'll roll back. I can then sand it, glue it, see if that takes. And if it doesn't take, I can roll it back, do the spray mount, do it. I'd rather do the least amount first rather than going too much, because if the other thing the instruction says is it's not waterproof, this stuff, so too much glue, too much moisture, and it will damage this. And I think that's where a lot of bubbles come from. So the moisture gets into the paper, it expands, creates a bubble. The benefit to using this premium stuff is that I haven't taken the film off the back, so there is sort of like a layer of film between the glue and the backscene, so hopefully any moisture won't seep through into the paper itself. But yeah, so that's that. The next thing I've obviously got to tackle now is creating the transition here, but I'm going to let this dry for a bit, or get some drying time down, come back and see where we are, see if any bubbles appear, etc. But so far, not bad. I think if this goes well, this is the way I will do the rest of the Backscenes. This is the join that I'm proposing, and yes, it looks very obvious. I mean, particularly this bit here, that's the obvious bit. The sky, not so much. I mean, it's certainly not the most out of place. It is just this bit. So, I mean, unfortunately my tape measure's being away at the moment, so if we take sort of that height there, I mean this is obviously rough. Take this and put it in here, it's just above the water level. So it's going to be quite easily hidden, and it's pretty much going to be just sky above here. So I might give it a go. I'm going to tack it down and see what we can do. Just on that last clip, the other thing I've been thinking of, just while waiting for this glue to dry, is the height difference here. As I just mentioned, most of that is going to be below that anyway, which means pretty much I'm just going to see sky, and I'm not going to get this whole industrial scene that I wanted. I might as well have just built a sky background. So, to counteract this join and to make the most of this, I'm thinking about moving this up, and then the rest will sort of fold over. I'm not going to have a different height, so it won't be higher there and lower there. It'll still be the same cut-off point. It'll go up, there'll just be less sky and more actual background, which means I can push this up. So this sort of green edge will effectively be sitting here, and I can blend that there quite easily, because it's going to be sort of, I can put some real trees and bushes and stuff there and hide that scene, and then that's the rest of that sky sort of won't particularly matter. So that's what I think I'll do. I'll probably push this up. I'm going to measure it all properly and get sort of the right thing there. But I think that will solve the problem, because I was going to put some form of retaining wall in there anyway, so you won't be able to see through. And even if you could, it's just going to be pointless anyway, because it just wouldn't make sense to have all being darkness. So we're going to push this sort of so it runs across the top there, and I think that's what we're going to do. Also, the board actually finishes here, so I'm going to have to make a very nice cut and then put the next board on and sort of join it that way. So I think what I'll do, I haven't glued this one down yet at all, peel this one back off. Now this is pretty much dry, I think. I'll offer it up, see where we are, and then measure how much I've got to raise this up by. Okay, so taking the pegs off the bottom, you can't see it. It's a couple of little loose bits, but overall it seems to have held. It might need some touching up, but we're going to offer it up, and as you can see, it's there. So I'm going to push this over the back very carefully. Okay, so let's just pick you up here. So this is where we're at, and this is why I really liked that water scene being there. I think it really does work well, and it's worth doing. Bear in mind that's just leaning up against the wall, it's not pinned up properly or anything at all. Might lose some of that in the background, but I've got sort of the roofs and chimneys there. The main thing I've got here is what I wanted, this water here and that industrial background with a bit of a power station there as well. So now, if we, forgive me, pop you there like that, get the old measuring tape out. So we're looking at 8 inches to the top of that, which is perfectly bang on, which then means we're going to get the best part of another 8 inches on there. So looking at that, I'll just bring this in. It's a bit rolled up, so just put that in there. So that's sort of what we're looking at roughly. I do hope you can see that. So I can't pin it very well. So again, not quite lined up, but you sort of get the idea. So we'll have actually much more of the back seam visible, and yet we'll lose a little bit. But I can probably, drop it down a bit. It doesn't have to be bang on 8 inches. I can lose a bit of this, but it means I can bring it up. So what I can do is do 6 inches, and then that gives at least a lot more of this back seam here, and it looks a lot closer, which is what we would do for this railway here. And that looks a lot more distant, which is pretty much what I'm looking for. And I can sort of hide that edge with real scenery. Looking at that, that looks exactly like what I'm looking for, and I think that's the way I'm going to go. This video I'm going to end here. It's looking quite long already, but hopefully you can get a flavour for what's going on. It's pretty much most of the same. I might do like another little bolt on video, but hopefully the next video I'll have the back scenes done. If not, there'll be another little video of me doing maybe the sides and the end scale ones to see how they look. But yeah, so thanks very much for watching. I hope this is good for you and you're enjoying what I'm up to. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye-bye. Okay, so just another quick little video. This is nearly a week later. I've just been busy at work, so I haven't come up here. I thought I'd come up and see how well the glue has taken, and so far, first thing I noticed, they're all still up, which is a good thing, and from what I can tell, no major bubbling, a little bit there, but overall pretty damn smooth. And considering it's just one coat of glue, the top I was expected to bubble over because I folded it over around the back. So the top I was expecting some bubble because it was going to come away, but overall pretty damn good. No major warping or bubbling over the main image. This one I'm lucky, it's mainly sky, and that was the first bit I did. I think I was a bit light on the glue, and then the rest of it got a bit heavier with it, and the second time round was a bit heavier with that as well, and yeah, it seems to have held. I don't think I filmed doing this bit in here as well, but yeah, I've got to adjust this join. This board is just loose, but that will pop in there, and then the rest will go along there. So ignore that join, but overall quite happy with that glue. Unfortunately I did get a little bit of glue on the board there, on the actual paper, but overall I think I'm going to do the rest of the back scenes with this glue, and you can see just for that how much I've actually used, which is very little from that tub. So I reckon that one tub will do me the whole thing, the whole layout in terms of back scenes. So yeah, overall I think this is a good little product and seems to have held well so far. Admittedly it's only been a week, but happy with that.